But I think the main things is at the end of the day, volleyball is volleyball. It's in the same 9x9 court, and the rules are the same. So we. Is that on the back of your shirt?
Yeah, it's on the back of the shirt.
A little free shout out for you. And it doesn't matter who's on the other side of the net. You need to still execute to the best of your ability if you want a chance to win.
What's up, Brett Walsh? That is right. Actually, no, not what's up, Brett Walsh. That was Brett Walsh. What's up, everyone? My name is Everett Delorme. Welcome to the 9x9, the 81 square meters of the best volleyball content on the internet. That is Mr. Rob St. Clair in Chicagoland. My name is Everett Delorme. And you know what, Rob? I don't know about playing to the best of your abilities, but that was hands down one of the best weeks of club volleyball I have ever witnessed, I have ever been a part of, I have ever anything. And I know, first and foremost, for me, I'll let you do the same afterwards. I personally want to start the show by apologizing to Lube Civitanova. I have not believed in them all year. I have not believed one single thing. I didn't expect them to get to the finals of the Super Copa. Not only did they do that, but they ended up providing us with one of the best double headers we have ever seen in club volleyball, with the Super Copa going down last week on Wednesday and then them playing Perugia this week on Sunday. Rob, we've got so much to talk about, but first and foremost, let's just jump right in to what was the best doubleheader I've ever seen. Of course, round one. Hey, you know what? The Infinity Gauntlet is still alive. The Infinity Gauntlet is there. Perugia is the only team that can possibly win it out of Italy now, but Perugia, with the reverse sweep, the come from behind win, make it happen, and they win their first trophy of the season.
Yeah, this was an all-time week. It was an all-time double header that ended up being the Lube and Perugia playing each other twice in like 4 days, and both 5-set bangers. It couldn't have been closer, couldn't have been more fun to watch. And the Super Cup final was that, like, as far as Super Cups that I can remember, even last year when Perugia beat Lube in maybe it was Trentino, when Perugia won it in 5. And it was dramatic. And last year was Wilfredo Leon getting hurt in the 5th set. And like that was a fun match that did a nice job of setting the tone for the rest of the season. I've never been more excited about the beginning of a Superliga season than this. Then after this week that we had, after these 2 Lube Perugia matches that we had, the opportunity to potentially see these 2 teams play each other again gets me so excited about Italian club volleyball. Like that again and again. I want to see it again and again. I want to see them play 5 best of 5 series in all 3 rounds of the playoffs. Like, I want these 2 teams to keep on playing each other. Started off with the Super Cup. We'll definitely start there. This was insane. Lube was up 2-0. They were up.
It was all Lube.
It was over.
It was they were cooking. They were chilling. Like they were having a good time. And then it all kind of changed. That third set though, Rob, of that match was bananas. It was bonkers.
Lube led 20-17 in the third, up 2-0. I had my thumb hovering over the send button on the Vince Carter "It's Over" gif in the Discord. I was that close to posting that gif. Didn't do it. Turned out that it was not over, because Wasim Bentara went back to the service line, went on an enormous 5-0 run to go up 22-20. And then after that, Leon went back and forced an overpass and an ace of his own, and Perugia ended up winning that set 25-21. Like a ridiculous, what is that? Like a 7-1 run, 8-1 run to come back and win the set to keep the match alive. Then 34-32 in the 4th to keep the match alive. How many match points did Lube have in that 4th set?
Oh man, I don't even know.
Probably almost 10. There are so many chances.
Back and forth. It was incredible. Honestly, it was one of those 5-setters that was like, sometimes you get a 5-setter and there's a few sets that there's a snooze show and there's just errors all over the place. But this was not the case.
No, not
this was beautiful volleyball on all sides of the ball. I mean, we're going to have to talk about Legumja at some point.
Oh yeah,
today. Lugumja this weekend was absolutely phenomenal. 22 in this one. I think he had 33 in the regular season match on Sunday. He was ridiculous. But to me, when I look at this Lube team, Rob, it's all about Alex Nikolov and how he's stroking that ball first contact. Dude's passing well. Look at these numbers.
He is.
Look
his
at these numbers.
Yeah, his reception in the final was pretty good. 27% perfect, 54% positive, and 0 errors. So aced 0 times. That was good. And we'll talk about the semis. We'll briefly talk about the semis in a bit. But when Lube Civitanova 3-donged Piacenza to pieces, Alex Nikolov put together one of the greatest stat lines I've ever seen, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But we also have to give Perugia credit for coming back and winning this match, for God's sakes. And then the revenge from Lube, and just as dramatic of a match in the regular season. But this, to me, as I was watching Perugia make this comeback, the storyline that jumped out to me was Lube reminds me of a point that you made, Everett, about Brazil, about the Brazilian men after the Olympic qualifier. Is it's a team that on paper looks like it should have some serious cracks, but they just know how to win as a team, and they figure it out. They know how to win as a team, and they figure it out. And when you pit that against a team of individual superstars of Perugia's caliber, who may have a little bit of an issue of coming together as a team, but there were moments, especially in that third set, and in the fourth, and in that overtime, when some of those individual players pulled themselves into delivering great individual moments. And that was enough to win some of those sets, ended up being enough to win the match in the Super Cup, but then it ended up in the regular season match being Lube, the team that figured out how to win as a team, being the team that got it done and barely pushed it over the finish line. That style counter is what makes me so excited to watch these two teams play whenever it is the next time, maybe Copa Italia, second half of the regular season, whatever it is.
I think it's also important that we don't really know what like Perugia's style is yet.
Exactly.
Right? Lube is a team that has been together for so long, and they've been working together. And Blangini, and when did Blangini take over from FIFA? Was that like 2021?
It seems to me like he's been there a while, but that's
he's been there a while. But like, you have the core of that team. I mean, they only brought in one big player this year, that is Lugumja. Everyone else, this is their team from last year, right? So this is a team that knows. Whereas on the Perugia side of things, there's so many things going on, but the individual performances in this one, and for me, there's two people for Perugia. When you look at this one, there's two people for me who have been fantastic for them. Who were fantastic for them last week in both matches, and that is Kamil Semeniuk first and foremost. He has been outstanding this season.
So good to see him back to playing like that.
100%. Absolutely love that. The cloud of Anastasi is gone and Semeniuk is back in full force. And I love it. Because there was so many haters in the Discord. There was so many just Kamil Semeniuk haters in the Discord. But the other one is that man there. And I'm still not 100% sold.
Everett.
Holy shit, does he ever look good?
Wasim Ben Tara.
Moly.
I've been trying to tell you all. I've trying to tell you.
I've never once doubted. I have never once doubted his ability. And you can go back and you can look, and I've never once doubted his ability. However, I have always doubted his wherewithal in situations. I mean, there's a few times when, like things are a little bit sketchy for him, but I'm much more on the believer train after this past week. I'm much more on the believer train than I was last week. He was phenomenal. He even swung down the line a few times.
Yeah, Bentara was the MVP of the Super Cup. I think that was well deserved. He single-handedly won that third set from the brink of 3-donging, which honestly probably should have been the case with how well Lube was playing. He brought Perugia back into the match. He was incredibly clutch. He served the absolute lights out, 5 aces in the Super Cup final, and led the match in serving attempts. So Perugia was scoring points on Bentara's serve, even when he wasn't directly acing serves. Leon, very good serving as well. No surprise there. But the clutch factor for Bentara was very impressive to me too. And I've always been high on the guy's athletic ability because he is an absolute freak of nature. Like, oh my goodness, the way that he gets off the ground is unbelievable. And I knew that he was a crazy attacker. I knew that he was an insane blocker as well. And that showed up in the regular season match. Some of the blocking sequences against Lube on Sunday. Dude.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. There was that one block.
Got Zaitsev, and then he dove in on a Bic. Like
the dive in on the Bic to make it 25-24.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous. Was it the third set? Was
maybe the
outstanding.
Yeah, ridiculous. So I always knew he could do that, but I didn't appreciate just how good of a server he was, and the moment in the third set when he had to deliver that serving run. I am sold. Somebody just put in the chat that Berkay, our Turkish friend, thinks that he's the second best opposite in the Superliga. And I am on board with that 100%. I think he's at least the second best opposite in the Superliga. I assume
Rich Licky, obviously.
I mean, knowing that it came from Berkay, he has to be putting him behind Adis Lagumjo, which honestly I think is fair.
Which I don't disagree with. I don't disagree with what Lagumjo did this weekend. Yeah.
But like Lagumjo, Bentara, honestly, Arthur Schwartz might be number 3 at this point. Rikliski, Shapozhkov, like whoever is playing on Verona at the time. Like that's a separate conversation. Bentara is awesome. Bentara is awesome, and I'm happy for him. He agreed with Langdon in the chat. He is worlds above Jesus Herrera, and I knew that when he came in. I think it was in the semifinal against Trentino, the Super Cup, when he came in off the bench for Herrera. I'm like, okay, it's over. Like this is Bentara's spot for the rest of the season. So that was electric. I do think we should talk about the semifinals really briefly. Perugia beat Trentino 3-1. The storyline here for me was serving. 1 ace to 15 service errors for Trentino. 8 aces to 13 service errors for Perugia. That is a massive disparity. And that's like, honestly, that's it.
Even offensive. I mean, Trentino won that first set, and then they were leading nicely in the second set too. It looked like, honestly, for a while, it looked like they were going to be able to go 2 up. And then Perugia, it looked like it just took them a little bit of time to get into this match, and they needed to get slapped up a little bit before they got into it. But I mean, by the end of the game, it was all Perugia. Yeah.
And we saw Ole Plotnitsky in this one, as you can see there on the screen. He was really good, 14 for 27, 15 points, including an ace. But he ended up being a little banged up, and we barely saw him at all in the final the next day. Fortunately for Perugia, they have 3 world-class outside hitters that they can use. But yeah, this one was never really in doubt. Also never in doubt. Everett, we were dead wrong about this. Lube Civitanova absolutely stomped on Piacenza 3-0. Everything went wrong for Piacenza that could have. Ioandi Leal, they look bad. Ioandi Leal was bad. Yuri Romano was bad. They made wholesale changes going into the third set. Didn't matter. Listen to this stat line. Alex Nikolov. 14 for 15 attacking.
From the left side.
93% efficiency. 2 aces and a block for 17 points. 46% perfect reception. 85% positive reception. 0 passing errors. Absolutely automatic in every category. I have never seen a stat line like that. I've never seen a stat line like that in my life.
So right now in the NBA, Rob, there's a big talk about these 3 third-year players who are, like Tyrese Maxey and Cade Cunningham and, of course, Scotty Barnes. They're all going off. You're supposed to do worse in your second year, Nikolov. You're supposed to get worse. You're supposed to still be at Long Beach.
Yeah, right? That's true. He should be a junior in college right now.
He should be a junior. He would still have 1 more year of eligibility. And you just got way better.
Incredible.
You just got like his level up. He wasn't this good of a passer in Eurovolley. He was good of a passer at the Olympic qualifiers. What happened in the past few weeks?
Yeah, the kid's feeling it right now. I mean, that stat line is like literally nothing I've ever seen before, and he's 20 years old. It's ridiculous, and it is holding Lube together with a performance like that in a way that is so important for them, because like we've talked about, they've got a little bit of a problem with the foreigner limit. It ends up all coming down to how well Ivan Zaitsev can play at outside hitter, who is similarly amazing. Like 7 for 10 attacking, 85% positive reception in this sweep over Piacenza. Like that's just incredible. But the fact that Nikolov is not only is he not a liability in reception, he's legitimately outstanding, completely changes the way that other teams have to serve against Lube, because the scouting report was just put every ball you can on Nikolov, and you can't do that anymore, apparently, because out of nowhere he's passing absolute nails. Everything is right on the 10-foot line or better. It's incredible the turnaround that he's made, and that stability at outside hitter for Lube, which was the only question mark I really had about them, has made them a completely different team.
Yeah, very, very much so. A much more dangerous team. I mean, that was one of the big things, is like Nikolov is an offensive weapon, but you just put the ball on and you're good. But no, that's not the case anymore.
Remarkable.
Yeah, it really is. This is something that I'm going to be very, very interested in watching as the season progresses. Do we want to talk? Well, first and foremost, let's talk about this Super Copa win and how big it is for Perugia. I did say last week that like this is a team that should be going out for blood. Now, do I think that losing to like Egonu? I do think that they went to 5 in the Super Cup last year.
They did. Yep.
And I'm pretty sure it was against Lube.
It was either Lube or Trentino. I don't remember which, but yeah, it was a 5-setter.
It was a 5-setter, and honestly, I think this is good for Perugia. Like a little bit of adversity at the end of the year, like a little bit of pushback. But is it with the addition of Bentara, with the addition of Lorenzetti, is it? Oh, I guess they can't. Never mind. They can't even get an Affinity Gauntlet.
No,
they can't even go up.
They're not playing Champions League.
They're not playing Champions League. Screw it, Perugia, you suck.
Yeah, you brought up the Infinity Gauntlet earlier. It's important to remember that Perugia is not playing Champions League. They're going to go probably win the World Club Championship again. Who cares? But this is by far the most expensive team in volleyball, and perhaps one of the best teams in all of volleyball, and they're not participating in Champions League.
Yeah. So you say about the World Club Championships. I think on the men's side is actually going to be interesting this year. I think they've actually sent some good teams, so we can talk about it. Like we'll talk about it a later date. But does this win, Rob, give you confidence that Perugia can be there at the end of the season? Like, you know, is this like a breath of hope for you if you're a Perugia fan?
No, because we've seen this story before. This is exactly what we saw last year. They won the Super Cup. They ended up going undefeated in the regular season, which now is off the table after the close loss to Lube over the weekend. But I'm still not convinced as a Perugia fan, because we're not at the playoffs yet, and that was where the collapse happened last year. Well, it really started at last year's Italian Cup, and and then really snowballed horrifically from there. But now, what we've seen from what we've seen from Perugia is now they have a loss they have to deal with, as we segue into talking about Sunday's game. The 5-set banger in one of what you said, Everett, might have been the best regular season match you've ever seen. And I kind of agree with that. 22-20 in the 5th. Now we get an early season taste of how does Perugia respond to a loss. Remember, they went 22-0 last regular season. They never had to respond to a loss until the Coppa Italia semifinal loss to Piacenza. And then they blew it in Champions League, the Scudetto, obviously the loss to Milano in the quarterfinal. Now we get an early taste of let's see how Lorenzetti can engineer a comeback here in that locker room. This is a very good early look at how does the new coach addition and Angelo Lorenzetti make a difference for this Perugia team compared to the chaos they've had coaching the last couple of years. This is a good thing for them. This 100%. This is absolutely a good thing.
Very, very much a good thing, right? First and foremost, it's early in the season, right?
Right.
And you can readjust. You know, you haven't been riding this ride like last year, then all of a sudden you get derailed. Second of all, you said the man himself, Lorenzetti.
That's
like
right.
You have a man back there who has a plan. He's not going to get rattled by a loss this early, especially in the regular season. And third and foremost, he's not going to get rattled in a loss where you went toe to toe with a team that you just went 5 sets without your best player as well, right? No Wilfredo Leon in this one, which I think is important to note.
Yep.
It Plotnitsky and Semenik on this side. It seems like both Leon and Plotnitsky are a little banged up. So Plotnitsky didn't play that much in the Super Cup final. Leon didn't play at all in this one. But I think that this is, even though this is a loss for Perugia, like there's a lot of good things. There's a lot of good things to take from it. Like a lot of good stuff to take from it. And
Totally agree.
And it was, I mean, like the blocking from Bentara, like you mentioned, like 4 blocks in this one. He was ridiculous. That block in the second set there,
the one-on-one on Zaitsev, like
God.
Sometimes, like we talk about it in basketball, sometimes when is 2 points worth more than 2 points? When is one stuff block actually worth more than a stuff block? Because a couple of 4 stuff blocks on the stat sheet for Bentara is nice, but you have to see them. You have to see how high the man is over the net and the diving, like the movement of his arms that he's doing to take away all this space. It's insane. The moves that he was making. I almost like fell out of my chair watching some of those blocks happen. Yeah, this is good. This is a very good showing for Perugia, especially again down 2-1. They come back and convincingly win the 4th set, 22-20 in the 5th. I mean, that could go literally any way.
Literally. And I mean,
literally anyway.
The amount of times the lead changed in that 5th set,
incredible.
And the same thing in the second set, bang, bang, bang. And this was like, for me, that I really want to bring up is Adas Lukumugia.
Yep.
This man, as good as he was in the Super League finals, he was incredible in this match. 27 for 45. He hit 60%, and his efficiency was high. He had 2 aces and 3 blocks. He was unreal for 32 points. But
awesome.
it was the Bentara gets a block, I'm going to go back and get an ace. Like, he was the man, and it was absolutely awesome to see. And you know what? I don't disagree with Berkai in the chat. Right now, Adas Lukumugia is the best opposite in the league, and he showed it on double against the best team on paper in the world this past week. But like that, what he was doing on Sunday kept on like audibly out loud to myself being like, holy shit, Lukumugia, what are you doing out here?
So good. Yeah, he was so good to take to be the best player on the court in this matchup on either team is like that's all you need to say. Like that is a really special performance, and it's time to we're going to start turning the corner here and singing the praises of Lube Civitanova because they deserve it. They absolutely deserve it.
I've already apologized. You need to get it. You need to get on that.
I do now. I was with you last week. We both picked Lube to lose to Piacenza in the Super Cup semifinal. However, on our Super Lega preview show, I did pick Lube Civitanova to win the Scudetto this year. So my faith on them has always been there. Now there is nobody in the league that I would pick them to lose to. Even Perugia, no. Like that it's a toss up. It's a coin flip. It's now they in my head they can and will beat Trentino when they play. They can and should beat Piacenza every time they play. We just saw it. They can and will be a significant player in the Champions League because they will play that tournament and Perugia will not. They with their the apparent answers that they've found at outside hitter with Nikolov and Zaitsev playing so well and Marlon Yant contributing well enough when he comes off the bench. I mean, he started that one set in the Super Cup and served the ball phenomenally well at a world-class level. The other player I really want to shout out here is Enrico Diamantini.
Yes.
Without Simone Anzani being fully healthy and available, I thought that there would be a massive hole in the middle for Lube. Diamantini has been awesome.
Our Discord was going off about him on Saturday. He had a fan, or sorry, not on Saturday, on Wednesday for the Super Bowl.
He's even digging balls. He's even digging balls after he serves. He's exactly what he needs to be. He's available on offense, and Jacheco feels the confidence in him to chuck it to him from weird spots. He's blocking balls in the clutch. He's not missing serves, and he even digs the ball here and there. Like playing a role phenomenally well. I've been very, very impressed by that. And we also got to shout out Bartolome Chinese. He had the match-winning stuff block at 22-20 in this one against Bentara to win it. He was
the only block of the match,
right? And he was a huge piece of the offense down the stretch. What I really liked was these two setters, DeCecco and Gianelli, which is amazing to watch them play against one another. They were going to the middle as their primary option in that overtime in the fifth, and I love to see that. That typically in those matches you see, like, you know what, overtime we're going to ride or die with our primary scoring opposite or whoever it is that's gotten you there. They just like chuck every ball to him, and if you lose, you lose. But they were going to the middle as the primary option in that overtime, and that was really cool.
That's DeCecco, though.
Right.
That's why he's arguably the best setter of the world right now. And I think that conversation can really only happen between two people, and it's really never going to come to a head unless at the national team level, because that man sets for Zenit Kazan, and not for Perugia. So, very much so. Is there anything else? We've spent a lot of time on this, almost half an hour. Is there anything else to talk about this matchup? I'm excited. Like the fact that this matchup delivered back-to-back bangers the way it did, could not be happier. Could not be more excited.
I'm gonna have we're gonna have a hangover after all this week of volleyball, because there's I don't see any way that we're gonna have matches that were this good. And oh god, awesome.
We haven't even got into the other cup matches or the leg of volley femininely matches that had a doubleheader this week too.
Still a lot to go here.
Let's keep this moving, Rob. Let's move on to the other reverse sweep in the Super Cup finals. This time it's ZAKSA. I don't know if you want to call it revenge on JW. They it's just another chapter in the ZAKSA versus JW battle, but another reverse sweep. And Rob, this one was done. If you had told me that ZAKSA would have won this Super Cup with the roster that they had on the court, I would have laughed in your face and called you Ronnie, right? Like it was ridiculous. I tuned into this. I was watching it early and JW was just kind of dominating, and I had to go do something else and came back to it. And then I was like, who is on the court for ZAKSA? Like, what is happening? But hey, it worked out. You made it happen with your bench players, which is all the better.
Yeah, when Jastrzebski won that second set in overtime, I think it was 26-24. Yeah, on a Ryan Slater ace. He came off the bench a couple times and actually played great. And so he ripped an ace to win that second set. It's 2-0. I'm like, it's over. It's over. Actually, like I was saying, I almost put the GIF in when Lube was up 2-0 in the Super Cup final. I did put the over GIF. I did put the it's over GIF in for this match, because it was like, I think it was 19-14 in the third.
19-14 or 19-15.
Something like that. And David Smith was the server who made the run happen. But the guys who were on the court, this could not have been more dramatic for ZAKSA. Przemysław Stempien, the backup setter, comes in for Marciniano. She apparently is dealing with like, I think it's a back issue. So big concern there. We'll get to that later. But this Daniel Kitsigoy kid, the Romanian, comes in at opposite, comes in for Łukasz Kaczmarek. And then Andreas Takvam, the Norwegian, comes in for Dmitro Pashitsky in the middle. If you like the fact that ZAKSA made a reverse sweep comeback against the reigning champs of the league with that team on the court, Takvam, Stempien, Kitsigoy, then Schlifka, Smith, Shoji, and Bednors. That group of seven making that reverse sweep and that comeback in the third set might have been even more dramatic than any of the Italian matches. Like, this was insane.
Yeah, it was. I would say that this one was more insane. Like, and you could just keep kind of feel like, I think to me, Bednors and Schlifka were phenomenal.
Ridiculous.
And they just turned it on. I mean, they each had 5 points in the fourth, 4 points for Bednors and 3 for Schlifka in the fifth. Like, they put the back on this team on their back, and everyone in just filled in. I mean, that the serving from David Smith.
Yep.
This man is an assassin, right? Like, I don't know if it's just because, like, maybe it has something to do with his hearing impairment, that he just can't hear the crowd and can't hear the weight of the moment. Because how many times have we seen this from him? Just go back. Like, I can't believe that after the 2021 Champions League, we thought that he was done. Like, I legitimately thought he was going to retire after the Olympics, and he has continued to impress.
Amazing.
It was, once again, I think this had to have been another masterclass of coaching from Tuomas Samavu, right? Just another one of just like, hey, like we're gonna dig deep and figure this out. And it seems like whenever his back against the wall is whenever his teams are at their best.
And it turns out that ZAKSA has way more of a bench than I ever thought they did.
Yeah.
I thought that this was going to be a huge problem for them. I thought that past their starting 7, they really were going to struggle. And it turns out they have a lot more capable pieces than I thought. I thought the way that Przemysław Stępień stepped in and set that match was incredibly impressive. Really impressive for a backup setter.
It was just putting the ball where the hitters needed it.
Yeah.
You know, it was like there was plenty of times where they would go to replays, especially in the middle. I found the ball in the middle was maybe a little bit higher and a little bit slower, but it just gave Smith the time to kind of pick and choose his spots. Just like his delivery. Yeah, exactly. Like he was going cross court. He was going cross body. He had all the shots. Just the delivering the ball in a consistent manner for Bednarz and Slivka who carried the load. And just keeping everything, like not trying to do much. I think he did a fantastic job coming in off the bench.
Yeah, awesome. And then remember the name, Daniel Kitsigoy. Remember that name. 18-year-old Romanian kid. Should be ZAKSA's third outside hitter in theory on the roster. He comes in at opposite here for Kaczmarek because their backup Bartłomiej Kłuth is a little banged up. 3 aces. 5 for 11 attacking with 0 errors in his first action ever in the Plusliga, trying to mount a reverse sweep against one of the best teams on planet Earth. Like that gut check performance from an 18-year-old kid blew me away. That blew me away. I was so impressed by that. And somebody in the chat says the fact that Smith and Kitsigoy are like 20 years apart in age is ridiculous. I saw pretty recently David Smith posted something on Instagram like, it finally happened. I played against the son of a former teammate. He said that like when one of the earliest years of his career, there probably when he was in his early 20s, he played with a guy who was much older, and now pretty recently, now that he's in his late 30s, he played against that guy's son, which is hilarious. Like Daniel Kitsigoy could easily be David Smith's son. Like that's how old
easily.
That's how the age difference is insane. Kitsigoy amazingly impressive. I was blown away with that kid off the bench, and then Andreas Takvam as well, a Norwegian guy in the middle who I really knew nothing about.
You know what, Rob? I think we really need to start looking at if ZAKSA is going out and getting players from random places, right? I really like how Berkay right above that Kitsigoy comment is like, the devil works hard, but Sedlacek's manager works harder.
Well, I was gonna get to that.
So for me, Rob, like this is where ZAKSA as like remember when like Shoji was telling us a story about how when they were looking at picking him up, they brought David Smith in and talked about how he is as a person. To me, ZAKSA must have one of the best recruiting and like knowledgeable staffs out there when it comes about like young players coming up, because we've seen this so many times. Like once again, Kamil Semenik was a nobody in the volleyball world before he came up for ZAKSA and led them to their first Champions League, right? This is a roster, and this is a staff, and this is an organization that understands how to build teams and understands how to go to far-flung reach places to find diamonds in the rough to develop them. And we need to start understanding that. Like from now on, if ZAKSA goes and gets a player, I'm going to be interested in that player.
Yeah.
Right. Like that's exactly what it's going to be. Because on the other side, you see a team like JW where they're not developing their own players. They're just getting guys like later on from the market, like a Sedlacek. Right. So that to me is, it just shows how much quality comes out of this ZAKSA program, not only on the court in terms of results, but how they develop and how they get there.
Yeah, their talent scouting is unbelievable. The way that they find these players from random places and turn them into so much more than anybody thought they could be. But we got to talk about Jastrzebski Węgiel here. This is a collapse. This is a choke. This is very, very bad to be up. I think the chat was saying 19-13 in the third and against the entire bench and lose that match. That is completely unacceptable. Norbert Huber has to be the biggest loser in this moment because he's been decently vocal about not being happy with the way that his last year or two with ZAKSA went after he came back from injury and then ended up
Can
sitting.
we talk about that?
Ended up sitting the bench most of last year, and then he leaves. He goes to Jastrzebski. He gets benched in the Super Cup final as they get reverse swept out.
And the player coming off the bench playing better than him has his number too. Kisigoi is wearing 99, which is Huber's number, which is crazy.
Awesome.
The beef between Huber and ZAKSA is incredible to me. I was watching it as he was like chirping through the net and stuff, and I was just like, he played with these guys for 2 years. He plays with them all on the national team. Like, what is happening over here?
I was really surprised to hear that there was beef. That doesn't make sense to me, but ZAKSA certainly got the last laugh here. Jastrzebski Węgiel has a second outside hitter problem. They have a massive problem at second outside hitter. Marko Sedlacek is not good enough, and that straight
Massive
up
downgrade.
Full stop. And that's exactly what Berkay is saying. Like, I do not understand how Sedlacek even got this contract. Because like he was a mid-tier player at best for Cisterna last year. Like, what are we doing?
It's Karyaga over again, right? It's ZAKSA and Karyaga all over again. Where it's just like, where did this come from? I mean, I saw people on the Discord, like people were messaging me being like, "Hey, can Ryan Sclater pass? Maybe Sclater can play on the left side."
Honestly, he might have to because Sedlacek here, 10 points in 5 sets, not good. 7% perfect passing, terrible. 8 for 22, 4 errors, 18% efficiency, not good enough. Like just a giant hole in Jastrzebski's roster, a massive downgrade from Trevor Clevenot. And like the rest of the team, not bad. Like Jean Patry wasn't bad, 15 for 32, 31% efficiency. Only 15 points is not what you would want to see. Tomasz Fornal was very good, 6 aces. Did everything he could to carry that team, but
it was all for now. But you could tell he was getting tired at the end.
Right,
like he started making errors in that
right.
fifth step.
And this is mental. To be up 19-13 in the third, up 2-0, and lose the match is mental. That is mental. That is a team that is not emotionally prepared to win in a moment like that. And I mean, Jastrzebski will be fine. They're one of the best teams in the league. They won the Plus Liga last year in convincing fashion, but I have huge concerns about that second outside hitter spot for them. Huge concerns.
Yeah, absolutely massive. I mean, Patry was, you're right. Like I think Patry was very all right.
He was all
31% efficiency is not what I'm looking for from a world-class opposite, you know? Only 15 points in a 5-setter is not what I'm looking for. You know, you're averaging 3 points a set. That's not what I'm looking for from my world-class opposite. And when you've got a 20-year-old Romanian kid who's outplaying you, who not even in his own position, like that's not what I'm looking for. One thing we need to address though, Rob, is that the chat is popping off about apparently Kisigoi broke his thumb in yesterday's game against Norvid and is out for until the end of the season, basically.
Yeah, probably around like the new year. So, and that's what I wanted to talk about here is because very similar, Everett, to last year's Polish Cup, where ZAKSA won last year's Polish Cup, and then they came out after that and laid an egg and lost to a really bad team. I think, God, man, I wish I remember who it was. Somebody in the chat remind us who it was that ZAKSA lost to immediately after winning last year's Polish Cup.
It was Bielsko Biala.
I don't know
if it got relegated.
I don't know. I don't know if it was somebody that bad. But similarly, this year they come out a couple days later. It was yesterday on Monday against Norwid Częstochowa, the new team in the Plus Liga, without a good amount of their best players, and ZAKSA tried to play the bench and get away with it, and that did not work. They lost 3-1. And they dealt with some even more serious injury concerns because, like you said, Kisigoi broke his finger, I think broke his thumb. He'll be out several months. They didn't have Marcinianos. He's dealing with a back issue. They chose to give Schliefka the match off, which I agree with.
Yeah.
They didn't play Łukasz Kaczmarek. I hear that he's a little bit banged up, and and they ended up with Dmitro Pashitsky playing opposite in the fourth set. That didn't work at all. Like now, ZAKSA is in a little bit of shambles as far as injury goes, and
I think to me, Rob, this loss for ZAKSA just shows and tells me that ZAKSA has very, very good team culture.
I know
you picked up what I'm putting down.
I know
there.
what you're getting at. I know what you're getting at. I don't think this is a party hangover from like celebrating after the Super Cup. I think this is concern with like getting snake bit by injury. And
I think it's maybe a little bit of both. You win an emotional Super Cup. You kind of take a bit of relax. The bench players who are really stoked and they're not expecting to play in this one, then all of a sudden they have to. Like there's a few things, but to me, like it was a bit of a sigh of relief. And also when you have 16 teams in the league and you're going to be playing as many games in the Plus Liga regular season, you can throw a game or two. It really
True.
this match is not going to matter one bit. One bit. Like it may matter for like home court advantage, but I really don't see it mattering all that much. Like my word for ZAKSA, absolutely not. They'll get better and they'll be fine.
Yeah, they'll be fine. And I mean, you're starting this Krzysztof Sapłocki guy, 2 for 17, 5 errors, an outside hitter. I guess somebody in the chat says that they brought him up from the second league, even like is that the third division? Yikes! Yeah, so he was horrible, predictably. Like you can't expect him to play at a Plus Liga level right away. So I agree. This match isn't this one match isn't going to hurt ZAKSA, but if their health as a team doesn't improve quickly, then if losses like this start to pile up in the Plus Liga regular season, then I will become concerned. Right now, I'm not concerned, but I've got my eye on the health of the ZAKSA starting lineup. However, probably worth it for that Super Cup win because that was insane. That was one of the best matches I've seen all year, and it came like 2 days after the banger in Italy. Like this is an incredible week. Incredible.
It was, and I mean, I'm kind of glad that the regular season, like there wasn't that many regular season matches this weekend, just so that we could kind of figure it out. And like, there's no matches this week either.
Like in the middle of the week, you mean? Or
no, never mind. My page just wasn't refreshed.
Yeah. Okay. So the last Super Cup match we got to talk about before we take a bit of a break and move on to everything else is in the Turkish League. We were hyping this one up last week because we already saw early in the regular season a matchup between Halkbank Ankara and Ziraatbank Ankara, and then they played again in the Super Cup on, I think it was like Wednesday morning before the Super Cup final in Italy, and this was a banger. This is a very fun match. Ziraatbank once again wins the Super Cup. They win 3-1 over Halkbank. 31-29. They got on the board in the second set. That ended up being massive. It was a stuff block by Matt Anderson that won it. And then they didn't really look back from there. Wouter Termat was the MVP. 26 points, 23 for 37 attacking, plus 2 blocks and an ace. Again, how many times ever are we going to see Wouter Termat outplay Namir Abdelaziz head-to-head? Because that's what happened.
I think Wouter Termat is... I see a lot of comparisons in some ways, and don't freak out with this with Romano. Just in terms of he's a guy who has fantastic. He's one of the most like offensively gifted players I've ever watched play. I mean, I remember back when he was with Berlin, he was redonkulous. But this is a man who can go out there and just score at will. Can just go figure it out. But he needs a little bit of motivation, and I do think that it's like something like I do think that there's a bit of a complex there with just how the Dutch have always just gone with Namir. And Namir has been the guy. And Namir has done all of these things. And Termat has never been given a shot. Because we never see this man play better than when he's playing against a team that has Abdelaziz Namir on it. Because that's what he is. He just goes into that extra mode, and he goes into game mode, and he's just ready to play because we've seen it once again.
Yeah, and Namir, not good, blocked 6 times. ZAKSA had 12 blocks as a team to Halkbank's 2. That's a massive, massive difference. Matt Anderson, really good as well. 18 points, 14 for 29, only 1 error. That's very, very efficient. I like what ZAKSA is built to be able to do, too, with the wings, because if they need to give Termat a game or 2 off, fine. Move Anderson to the right side and start Camejo and Luciano Vicentin at outside, who didn't even play in this match.
I loved Camejo. I've always loved Camejo. He's just a big hammer on the left side. I love watching, and he's got a huge hammer too. Like he's swinging. But he just goes out there and bombs, and I love it. He's so Cuban, I absolutely love it. But
so Cuban.
I really think, Rob, that both of these Turkish teams are going to do some damage at the Champions League this year. Like if I look at these teams, and I know you've got some Turkish guys on it, but ZAKSA, I think could compete against a JW.
Oh, for sure. And
right?
Both these teams will play Champions League, especially when it comes to Champions League in Halkbank's case, and they're not handcuffed by the foreigner limit, and they can play both Gord Perrin and Irvin Ingapeth on the left side. That team's going to be nasty. They're also playing the Club World Championship. But
yes.
What's very important to bring up in this match, the clear gaping hole for Halkbank Ankara was this Izzet Ünver guy at outside hitter, who I've never seen before, was terrible, 3 for 12 with 5 errors. So bad, in fact, that Halkbank Ankara went out in the middle of the first month of the season, and they signed Mirza Lagumja to leave Arkas Izmir and come to Halkbank Ankara to be that second outside hitter and be the Turkish guy who doesn't count against the foreigner limit. They got so fed up with watching Izzet Ünver start at outside hitter early in the season that they made a move of that caliber, and they're like, I'm sick of this. We're not going to do this anymore. We can't watch this. It's very rare.
You very, very rarely see mid-season transfers happen in the same league. You never see a mid-season transfer where another top 4 team gives up arguably one of their best players to go up to a team on top of them, right? Arkas is a top 4 team, right? You go to Fenerbahce, Galatasaray, and Arkas after these two, right? So what's going on? Glenn Hogue, what are you doing over there? They must have paid money. Now, is Mirza Lagumja that worth it? I guess we'll have to see.
Yes.
So?
Apparently, according to Halkbank's management, he is, and the upgrade that he is over this Izzet Ünver guy is enormous. And as far as Turkish competition goes, like Berkay just said, there's a chance that Halkbank may have just won the league with that move right there, because the difference that makes now, being able to continue to play Micah Ma'a as the foreign setter, and then Namir and whichever between Gord and Ingapeth you want to play as the other outside, the difference of having Mirza Lagumja there and actually be capable versus this Ünver guy is a massive, massive difference. I completely agree with the move. I wonder how much it's going to cost them financially, but
I'm wondering,
that is a drastic move to make this early in the season.
I'm wondering if there's some friction with Mirza Lagumja and Arkas, because that's the second, he was rumored to be moved to Monza at the beginning of the season as well too. So I've never seen a team shop around a player like this in volleyball. It feels like James Harden is asking for an out, and it's just is it Berkay, you're in the chat right now. You can let us know. He's the perfect person to talk about this, as he is also an Arkas fan, and he's also our resident Turkish knowledgeable person. But it's so odd that Arkas doesn't not only are they letting this happen, but they're also just anyone want him? Anyone want him? Mirza Lagumja up on the platter right now. It's a very, very weird. 100% has to be. It has to be for a lot of money. Maybe some future picks and considerations. I don't know how Turkey works.
Money talks in volleyball, boys and girls. But it is ZAKSA who leads this season's series 2-0. And this almost certainly will be the finals of the league when it comes down to playoff time. But I like watching these two teams play one another. These are two legitimately good teams, on the European scale. These two teams will be good in Champions League. Halkbank will be good at the Club World Championship. Like, this is a very fun battle to watch whenever it happens. So I'm glad that we got to see it. I want to see Luciano Vicentine more, but I mean, like you said, Camejo, the big hammer, is playing pretty well over there.
He looks a little unhappy at the end of the bench there beside Mattier.
Well,
I would be too if you're not getting in, but we'll have to see. Camejo is injury prone and he's
old and sucks at passing. So yeah, Vicentine will get his moment. All right. Before we jump around the rest of the world of club volleyball, because there's still a lot to get to, two important things to tell the people about Everett. First and foremost,
we're matching. We are matching. I got the crew neck. He's got the t-shirt. Make sure you head it over to thatvolleyball.store and use the code SPICY to get 15% off of your entire order.
Spicy like the matches this week.
Spicy like the matches this week. There was a lot of spice this week, and we haven't even gotten to the women's side yet. So,
right.
Head over to thatvolleyball.store to use the code SPICY. And now, Rob, tell them about our favorite segment. Tell them what they missed last week. Where was Daddy hanging out last week?
Where was Daddy hanging out last week? Because everywhere, every show, Daddy Stankovic appears. Daddy Stankovic is hidden somewhere in this show, just like he is every show, because he is our hero and he likes to keep a watchful eye over us. Last week, we were talking about Emoko Conegliano winning the Italian Women's Super Cup again. And there you see on the left, next to Catherine Plummer, you see Daddy Stankovic celebrating with another team, another trophy. So good for Daddy. Several people found Daddy right away.
I love the pose. I just absolutely love the pose.
Oh, Daddy Stankovic is a man of many talents. He appears in many places. And the thing about finding Daddy Stankovic on the 9x9 is that if you find him, you have to comment the timestamp of where he is in the main YouTube comment section after the show is over. And then if you find him, you get a shout out on next week's show. And last week, our friend Vivian found him immediately. He or she says 5:35 was the timestamp. It was early in last week's show, next to Catherine Plummer's face. Yep. And then our friend Devin from the Volleyball Coverage Channel says, the day Daniele Santarelli fell in love with Daddy. I love it first sight.
It does look like he's looking over.
It does, yeah. So, that was where Daddy Stankovic was last week. He is hidden somewhere in this very show. I'm not going to tell you where, but when you find him, wait till the end of the show is over and put the timestamp of where he is in the main YouTube comment section. Awesome.
Do it up.
All right. We've got a lot more to get to. There's still a lot more volleyball going on, including on the women's side. Everett, it is time to welcome back the CEV Champions League.
Bro, I turned on my computer this morning to start getting ready, and then I turned on YouTube, and I was just like, is that a Champions League thumb? And I knew because I was looking at our show notes, and I was just like, oh yeah, Champions League. But then when it hit me, it's just like, bro, this is already.
Dude, it's early. It is early to be playing the fourth round of Champions League. And I mean, the men's doesn't start for a while because the field isn't even complete. They're still playing those early rounds where a couple more teams will join this round. So Champions League, there's 5 pools of 4. There's 20 teams in what they call the fourth round. I don't like calling it the fourth round. It's basically like it's the regular season. It's the regular season. Don't like that, but figure it out. But whatever. It is 5 pools of 4. Double round robin in each pool. So there's 6 rounds of sort of regular season play in Champions League. The first round on the women's side starts today. There's actually a match going on right now. Fenerbahce of Turkey is up 2-0 on this Comunic team from Slovenia. No surprise there. That match is in pool. What pool is that? Pool C. Yep. So we've got a full slate of 10 Champions League matches this week. It's usually in the middle of the week, usually Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And as is pretty typical, the first round is high-seeded teams against low-seeded teams. There isn't going to be a lot of drama this week. So today, we've got, Fenerbahce over Comunic. That's not going to be competitive at all. However, we do have Budowlani Łódź against Potsdam. That'll be a decent match. Le Canet of France versus Prometey from Ukraine. That's also today. Conegliano from Asterix Avo from Belgium. That'll be a 3-dong. And then Rzeszów versus Stuttgart is a pretty good match. That's later today. Tomorrow, Idzajabasha versus Vasas from Hungary, 3-0. Vakif versus Mulhouse from France, 3-0. Scandicci versus Plovdiv from Bulgaria, that will be 3-0, and I'd be surprised if Plovdiv got to double digits. The other Łódź team from Poland plays Alba Blaj from Romania, and then Thursday, Malonza versus some Serbian team called Jedinstvo. Never heard of them. Probably not going to be a lot of competitive games this week, but the CV Champions League is back. First round of 6 in the regular season. I don't understand why we're doing this in November. Why are we doing this in early November? I don't get that. Am I wrong in thinking that that's earlier than usual?
It's way earlier than usual, I would say. Like way earlier than usual. I feel like in past years we started in like December. Like usually like this would be the time to figure it out. That's why like it hit me this morning and it was just kind of like it's like the feeling when you're in the grocery store and it's like November 2nd and you already see Christmas decorations like it's a little bit early for this. So yeah, I think, Rob, that we should sit down and maybe do a bit of a preview show. It's still early enough in the year that we could do a preview show for this, just like looking at these pools, there's going to be some intrigue in them, maybe.
For sure.
Maybe a little bit.
Yeah, it's not going to come for a while, but I mean, in Pool A, you have Malonza versus Vakif. That's a huge deal. It's like Paolo Egonu and Jordan Thompson against their former teams.
I'm more looking for pools where there's like 3 decent teams, you know?
There aren't really
like Pool C is all right with Lodz and Fenerbahce, and then Potsdam was able to win games. Like they beat Vakif last year, so they're up there. Stuttgart made a good run. Crystal Rivers, Conegliano, and Rezhov. That's going to be all right too, and that's probably about it. that's probably about it. Pool E looks real weak because of Le Canet making that run last year.
That's a difficult pool to watch. Someone's going to win that pool, and they're probably not going to do any damage in the playoffs. But I mean, Malonza versus Vakif in pools, that'll be good. Idzajabasha versus Scandicci in pools, that'll be good. Conegliano will have 2 like other decently competitive teams in their pool, but they should go 6-0. Like, there's not going to be much drama in Women's Champions League this week, I think is fair to say. And if there is, we'll talk about it on next week's show. But like, I don't see it on paper. And I mean, Men's Champions League doesn't start for another like 3 weeks. Because they're still playing the early rounds. I don't understand why we're doing this so early. I'm a little confused by this. But as for where to watch Champions League, CEV YouTube streams only a select few of them for free. They do stream all of them under like their YouTube membership paywall. And I really recommend paying for that before you pay for Eurovolley TV. Eurovolley TV is not a good platform.
Garbage.
Really bad.
So garbage.
Yeah,
it's gonna die.
It's really
20p. Just kill me now.
Yeah, it's bad.
Like you just brought so much anxiety onto me when you said the words or your Volley TV. Like that just brought my mood down so much.
Sorry.
Because you know that there's gonna be some garbage with the like. It's going to be the classic CEV where like you're like, pay for this level and you get all the matches. Then a few weeks later, sorry, you actually have to pay for this level now. And then like next thing you know, if you're going to want to watch, you're going to have a membership just to watch highlights.
Figure it out. CEV, they lose Dan Manili, they lose me, and then they forget how to do content. Unbelievable. Anything else about Women's Champions League? I don't really have anything.
No, we mentioned that it's happening. It's not interesting yet. If your team is playing, go watch. But otherwise, it's not interesting yet.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep it moving. And Claire, what we got next? Want to jump over to the let's stay on the women's real quick. Let's go leg of volley femininely a little bit. We had not 1 but 2 rounds of the leg of volley femininely happen last week and then over the weekend. First round, round 5, not really much happening there. Anything on this side of these matches that you want to talk about?
Yeah, I want to talk about both Conegliano matches because Conegliano had played both of their 2 primary opponents at the top of the standings and beat them both. So like they beat Scandicci in round 5, they beat Malonza in round 6. So we'll dig into those matches, but just to read them down, I mean like Firenze 3-0 Roma, yeah, great. Oh wait, I'm looking at the wrong one. This is round 5, right? Yeah, Firenze 3-2 Roma, Chieri 3-1 Vallafolia, Novara 3-0 Trentino, Cuneo 3-0 Casalmaggiore, Pinerolo 3-1 Busto Arsizio, Malonza 3-1 Bergamo. I mean, yeah, whatever. I don't have any much to say about any of those games, but Conegliano beating Scandicci is worth talking about. This was a good match. This was very competitive. Like three of the 4 sets only by 2 points. Who'd they give the MVP to here? Monica De Gennaro. Okay, nice. I'm pulling up the stats really quickly. Well, there is a transfer to talk about as with Scandicci, by the way. We'll talk about that in just a minute. Isabel Haak, awesome as usual. Let's see, 32. Whoa, 32 in 4 sets is pretty amazing. 28 for 50. Yeah, that's awesome. Kalia Lanier started at outside hitter. That was nice to see. She wasn't quite able to hang in the whole match. It looks like Catherine Plummer didn't even dress in this game, so she must have gotten the game totally off. Kelsey Robinson was pretty good, surprisingly terminal, 14 for 31, and passed the ball great. On the Scandicci side, let's see, Zhu Ting pretty good, 16 points, 15 for 37. Britt Herbot started at outside hitter across from her, so they must have done some sort of magic with the foreigner limit, and yeah, that was to bench Haley Washington. So that was a move that we talked about a few weeks ago that we might see for Scandicci, is to play their 2 like superstar foreign outsides and have to play 2 domestic middles, which is one domestic middle. They play Linda Nwakalor over Haley Washington. They still start Anna Carolina in the middle. No Antropova in this game, and they still hung in there, which was pretty impressive.
Dude, Scandicci for me is a team that could pop off at some point.
They could.
I don't know, but I could see them, like, if they got into a season series with Conegliano at the end of the year, I could see them winning a few games, right? Like they could at least win a game, I think, and they have the team around them. I mean, they need some better performances from some players. I thought Herbots was pretty good in this one, but especially down the middle, they're going to need something big, especially just to be able to shut down Isabel Haak.
Yeah, they have I think they're clearly the 3rd best team in the Lega Volley Femminile. Like they certainly have the talent for that. I don't see them beating either Malonza or Conegliano in a series. But when it comes to
games,
no, probably not even in games. When it comes to Champions League time, I think because of how many foreigners Scandicci has, being able to play all of them will produce a pretty good team. And I mean, we might as well bring it up now. They just got a significant reinforcement at libero because Enrica Milo got hurt a couple weeks ago, and they went out and got, in the middle of the season, they convinced Malonza to let go of Beatrice Parrocchiale, who had started at libero for them the past couple years. But because Brenda Castillo finished her time at the Pan Am Games with the Dominican Republic, she is now in Italy. She is ready to go. Parrocchiale is likely going to sit the bench for Malonza the rest of the season. She comes over to Scandicci, will be their starting libero, and doesn't count against the foreigner limit. So that is a very good move for Scandicci to pick up a good domestic libero. I think that'll help a lot.
Right now, Rob, in this Lega Volley Femminile, there's one team that actually sits atop the standings that we haven't talked about, and that is Novara. Novara plays their first real team this weekend. Yeah, the 12th. That has to be this weekend.
That's kind of why I haven't talked about Novara that much. It's because they haven't played a real team yet. And you're right. This Sunday, they do play Malonza, and that will be worth watching.
Where do we think Novara sits on this roster? Where do we sit? Yeah, you think they're fourth? They're going to slide in after Scandicci?
Yeah, I will. I just don't think they have the top end talent that they have that Scandicci has, or certainly that like Malonza and Conegliano have. But if they compete really hard against Malonza on Sunday, then I might change my tune on that. But I mean, I'm not going to claim to have watched very much Novara so far this season. None.
Zero.
But they haven't played anybody yet. So yeah, they're 6-0. Great, good for them. They're at the top of the standings because Conegliano has a match in hand, but they just haven't played anybody yet.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see how Novara answers off to this, especially like I don't know how I feel about the roster this year.
Who, Novara?
Yeah.
I mean, they're kind of the same team that we expect. They're good in the middle. They have Bossetti. They don't have so the
They
player to
just have
watch
no one.
is Vita Akimova at opposite. The Russian girl who played for Lokane last year.
Okay, yeah.
She's having a good start to the season, but is she an opposite the caliber of Antropova, Egonu, or Hawk? No. No, she's not. And that's why I put Novara fourth. Very good middles though. Kirikella and Danesi is as good of a middle duo as you could ask for.
Yeah, 100%. And I would fully agree.
And
And
Fertino is
Orthman's
good.
really good.
Orthman's good, but Orthman I think is out for the year. I don't know if she's playing.
Is she still?
She's on the roster, but yeah, that knee injury from Olympic qualifiers is going to keep her out for a while. Fercino is a good libero. Bosio is an acceptable setter. Like I just don't really see it at the top levels for Novara.
Fair enough. What want to move on to the second week here? Or?
Yep. Yeah, round 6.
Round 6.
Round 6 happened as well. There was very little drama. Well, I mean, Calciumaggiore beating Firenze is kind of nice. Busto Arsizio beating Valafolia is kind of nice. Roma beating Bergamo. I don't know.
Yeah, some decent results. I mean, I think the big one for me to talk about here is going to be Conegliano versus Malonza.
For sure.
And I mean, what was it? Like Malonza won the first set of this one. And then Conegliano came all the way back, and it was all in Conegliano's errors, right? Like it was really like even when Malonza was winning, like Conegliano was making errors and kind of giving them, like they still controlled that match. It was even more dominant than the Super Copa finals, I thought. And
I mean,
there is a massive chasm between those two teams right now.
You see those set scores. I mean, 18, 20, and 15 in those last 3 sets. Like that's not really even that competitive. I thought Sarah Farr was really good in this match in the middle. 4 blocks, 14 points total, 2 aces, 8 kills. Like that is a really nice, well-rounded output for a middle. Isabel Hawk 20 and wasn't even that good. Like 16 for 37 attacking with 7 errors isn't her best match, and they still won this match easily.
I actually thought Plummer was really good in this match.
Plummer
was real solid. She was having some good swings. She was swinging down the line. Like you could tell that she was having a confident day. And when there's a confident plumber, so I'm just trying to pull up the stats here. When there's a confident plumber, like that, she's playing good. But yeah, I thought that she had a really, really good day for Conegliano on this one, and it really justified her not even being dressed for that mid-week matchup against Scandicci.
Yeah, I actually like that roster management a lot from Santarelli and that team. Like they have the options to do that at outside hitter, give girls a break here and there, and it worked. Plummer passed the ball great in this one, clearly the target, and 48% perfect, 65% positive.
Are you worried at all, Rob, that Conegliano is not going, like, is rarely going to them?
Is what?
Like they really only go to far down in the middle. And other than that, like De Cruyff is barely getting any sniffs over there. Is that any worry to you?
No, I do like Scarcini a lot. I wish that she would get the ball in the offense more. I also love her serving. But that's like Volos has never really been a middle heavy setter. And Conegliano as a team doesn't really run slide that much. There's some of these Italian women's teams that run that middle behind the setter a lot more. Like Novara does that a lot. Malonza even does that a lot. With Retke really likes going behind the setter, but Conegliano just doesn't run the middle that much. It's just kind of who they are. Or when they do, it's very exclusively in front of the setter. So no, this doesn't bother me. The fact that they won this game convincingly without that good of a performance from Hawk is pretty telling. And Berkai in the chat says MVP for Amoka must be Alessia Oro, who's Malonza's setter. She clearly didn't. She didn't have a very good game, but I mean, another kind of confusing starting lineup from Malonza. Laura Hireman started in the middle.
Yeah,
I don't get that one. Nika Dalderup started. Nika Dalderup and Miriam Silla at outsides. Neither of them were good at all. Egonu wasn't that good. 14 for 47 with 9 errors. Man.
14 for 47 with 9 errors is an absolutely horrendous.
Not good.
Horrendous stat line. Just terrible there by Egonu. That's really, really bad.
Not good. It was good to see Brenda Castillo. It was good to see her. start
Do
from
we,
Alonso, she's going to be the girl. Oh, man,
Rob? I'm going to ask you a question here.
let's hear it.
Are Paula Egonu's best days behind her? She's not that old.
She's what,
Like
24, 25?
24, 25. She should be in her prime. And yet I continuously compare her to the Paolo Egonu of like when we had the undefeated Conegliano team. And it just seems that it's never been the case since then. And how many like you spent 1 year for Halkbank and now you're back in the Italian league and now you're playing for Milonza and there's all of this stuff going on with the Italian women's national team. Like what is happening around Egonu that all of this stuff is happening? You know, like what is happening? And like I am not, and by no means defending Mazzanti here. I do not want to be, but something had to have been happening for Mazzanti to want to make that move. You know,
No.
whether it was justified or not.
I'm going to stop you right there. You can't justify excluding Paola Egonu from the national team. That's insane.
100%. I fully agree. You can't justify
this.
it, but
This is a different conversation, and this happens to Egonu. She has bad regular season matches. There are games when she makes a bunch of errors, and people start to scratch their heads about why clubs are paying her what they're paying her. But then, like somebody says in the chat, and like multiple people are saying in the chat, then she drops 40 in last year's Champions League final.
for sure.
Paola Egonu's best
For
days
sure.
are not behind her. You are
like,
overreacting to
was-
a regular season game.
But she was doing that regularly back then too. But also not losing.
She had bad games for Halkbank last year's regular season. Like that.
100%. But that's what I'm saying is that like we didn't really see those bad games before when she was in like the Conegliano perfect times. Like back when we were on like history watching every time Conegliano won another game, it was like we had to talk about it because like it was adding to history. Like Egonu was very, very good. That offense ran through her. Like she does not have, like she still has that top level ability without a doubt, 100%, but she doesn't have that overall consistency that we saw from those times.
No, that's fair. She has bad games sometimes. I still think you can single-handedly win a championship with her on your team.
100%.
And that's
absolutely.
No doubt about that. This Milonza team will need to do if they don't figure out the outside hitter position. My God, I can't keep watching this team flounder at outside hitter with 4 good players on the roster, and none of them can figure out how to play an entire match without getting benched. It's embarrassing. I can't watch it anymore. Figure it out. And that I think is part of why Egonu might be struggling a bit, is because there is a revolving door of players at every other position on the court. It's crazy.
Yes, you're not wrong. All right, Rob, anything else here from this week's Superlega Femminile?
Nope. Here's the standings. They played 2 games this week. There's not much surprising going on here because Conegliano and Milonza both have a match in hand.
The only big surprise to me is Busto. Like Busto is a storied club, and last year they started this. I think they started like 0-5 last year, and then they made the playoffs by the end of this year. I don't see that happening this year. I really don't. Like that's a huge drop for what was like historically a top 4 team in Italy.
No, that is not a good looking roster. However, pleasant surprise is Roma. Relegated 2 years ago, won the second division last year, and right now they're in playoff position, and they've played one less match than everybody else. Like they're having a good start.
If we're looking at the relegation rate from last year already, 3 wins might be enough to get them by.
Great point. Like
right.
Yeah, like 3 wins in 5 matches. That honestly could keep you in the League of Volley Femminile straight up.
Yeah. So, all right, Rob, let's jump over from one Italian league to the other. Let's hit back up over the Lega Volley Femminile. We already talked about Perugia versus Civitanova. That was the other one. I actually really liked this. It was a lot of even matchups.
Yeah,
I found. I really want to talk about that first one because right now, Rob, I think there is a 3-way race. I'm calling it the Battle of the M's. It's the Battle of the M's for the 4th best team in the Superlega. And now traditionally that M has been Modena. Last year that M was Milano. But I think this year the M is going to be going to Monza as they demolished Modena. Like that wasn't even it wasn't even really a
Smoke.
fun game to watch.
Not really.
No, it was not a fun game to watch. We'll definitely have to talk about Milano and Cisterna again, as Milano continues to struggle without Paolo Porro there.
Milano is 0-3.
Oh, yeah, Milano looks bad, and they've got Lube and Perugia coming up. But first and foremost, Rob, let's talk about Monza versus Modena. Monza looking great. Modena, not so much.
What a banger from Arthur Schwartz, dude. 12 for 17, only 2 errors, above 50% efficiency, 3 blocks, 3 aces, 18 points. Clearly deserved MVP. That was very impressive. Arthur looked great. Great.
He's looking better than I could have hoped for. Like truly, when he made that jump from being the backup to the starter for Team Canada, and the fact that he's been able to continue it here in the Superliga it honestly, it makes me smile at least once a day. at least once a day. It's amazing.
Lots to feel good about.
Lots of feel, like the way that this offense is running with they hit 66% as a team against Modena.
Yeah, incredible.
66% as a team. Copa looks way better in a Monza jersey than he does in a Brazilian jersey.
And this is Copa against Bruno, setting against one another head to head, which is certainly
I forgot that matchup. Oh man, but like
this was not even close. We've got some very angry Modena fans in the chat asking us to not even talk about this game. You know what? We're going to run it into the ground even more because Arthur Schwartz was amazing. Ran Takahashi was amazing. 9 for 14 with 4 aces.
4 aces.
Awesome. awesome. Like great setting from Copa all the way around. And Modena, thumbs down.
Well, Modena is a team that I look at, and I don't know if they can get better. Like they are going to live and die. Like Wantarena didn't even play that last set. He got subbed off for Davis Giba. He wasn't great.
Davis Giba went 9 for 11. The Davis Giba needs to be starting on that team.
Wantarena went 4 for 11.
Yeah, Davis Giba went 9 for 11. That's unbelievable. And then Tommaso Rinaldi, 4 for 15, 6 errors, and got aced 6 times. What are you doing keeping that guy on the court? Like, what are we talking about here? That's terrible.
I don't know. But when you look at this roster, they don't have, like, you want to go to Pinali? Roberto Pinali?
Well, you have to play Davis Giba. Davis Giba is really good. Against his former team, and Berkay just put in the chat Federici, their new libero, against his former team as well. He played for Monza. He was terrible. Like the bad outing for Monza, with the notable exception of Daddy Stankovic. He was great.
Modena. Great outing for Monza.
Oh, is that what I said? Yeah. Very bad outing for Modena, except for Daddy Stankovic. Also, why are they not playing Anton Brema in the starting lineup? Come on, guys. Come on.
Hey, they went away. They went away from Gianni. That's all I'm gonna say. They went away from Gianni. They could have had Andrea Gianni coaching this team, but they went away from Gianni. My question to you, Rob, is: do we think Monza is legit?
Yeah, I actually do. I actually do think Monza is legit. Monza is constructed like a team that is built to have serious success in this league. They have 3 very capable outside hitters. They have 2 capable opposites, and they haven't even needed Ibrahim Lawani yet because Schwartz has been so good. They have 3 capable middles, and all of them are Italian, so you've got like foreigner flexibility there. And then they have a dynamite setter, like especially if like the last Stephen Marr's last match wasn't as good. This match was very good, 8 for 15. Passed the ball okay, but it had 2 aces and a block. Like, I don't really see that many weaknesses for Monza. And really when you have if you have an individual bad game here and there, you have very good options off the bench at every position except setter. And that I'm impressed. Who does Monza have like the next couple games?
They have Verona tomorrow.
Oh, Verona tomorrow, a midweek game. Yeah. Okay, nice.
Yeah, but yeah, they have the only match tomorrow against Verona.
Okay,
and
then Toronto on Sunday, which should be pretty easy in theory.
Yeah, it should be. I mean, Monza's looking pretty good right now. They've beat Lube and Modena, and they lost to Perugia.
Good start to the year.
That's a pretty good start to year. Let's chat about the other M though, Milano.
Oof.
And I know it's temporary. I know you don't have Poro, and I know Zonta is really, really bad. But man, this is bad. This is
25-14, 25-15 to Cisterna.
Yeah. What was it? Spicy Volleyball that posted the meme about like Rand calling up Ishikawa.
Tough. Yeah, that was a good one from Bassi on the Spicy Vibes account. I mean, Matej Kaziski, bad, negative efficiency. Ferre Regers, bad, negative efficiency. Yuki Ishikawa wasn't nearly as good as usual. 11 for 32 with 6 errors, didn't pass the ball well at all. And then Margarejo off the bench was fine, but Milano is floundering. They are floundering. This looks like a bad volleyball team right now.
This does look like a bad volleyball team. And it's crazy because this is a team that went through so much adversity last year. Like they had a bad floor playing middle and they were winning games. And now, like, this is a team that just doesn't seem to get together. And I mean, you are playing early season Cisterna, which, you know what, if we had the season,
early
if we had
season
the playoffs,
Cisterna,
if we had the playoffs in October, Cisterna might as well be the like Superlega champions. It's a good thing they only invite 4 teams because Cisterna would be able to be the best because they're fantastic in October and November always. But still, like Kaczynski, terrible.
Bad.
Riegers, terrible. Lozère, okay, he was all right. Only 2 blocks against 12. Like that is insanity. Like the serving wasn't terrible, but like Milano. Why am I not surprised that Piazza has a hard time navigating the situation right now? You know, and I could just see him just getting down on that team.
See a lot of these and a lot of Porco Dios and just a lot of pure Italian flavored rage on that sideline.
Yeah, because you know what, they got to figure something out. Really went all in, getting like, where's Margarejo? Why isn't he playing? Like, why are you going?
Give Kaczynski a break once in a while, man. Like, give Kaczynski a break. He doesn't look good. He doesn't look like he wants to play outside.
They moved him to the right side for the third set.
Yeah, they did.
Margarejo was 5 for 8.
Yeah.
Right? You need to be playing him more. You absolutely need to be playing him more. No doubt about it.
Yeah, I agree. Very, very bad outing for Milano. That was tough. We also had what do we have? Toronto versus Padova in a 5-setter. Padova wins 18-16 in the 5th. I'm not going to claim to have watched this match, but
no.
I always have my eyes on the individual stat lines of Gabby Garcia Fernandez. Like I was saying in the Superlega preview, I am watching his season very closely. I want to know how he is playing as a full-time starter for Padova. I want to know what I can expect when he becomes eligible for the United States national team in March. And he was bad this game. Negative efficiency, 6 for 21, 8 errors. That is not what I want to see.
I don't think he's the answer. I really don't. Right? Like, he's another guy who had a great rookie year playing for a fantastic team, and then everyone picked up on him. Like, I don't,
I'm concerned.
I'm on team Jake Haynes over Gabby Garcia.
Oh my God, Everett. Don't drive the knife further into my heart like that. Oof. I mean, funny enough, Kyle Russell was the opposite on Toronto, and he was similarly not very good. 7 for 20 with 6 errors. What are we doing at the American opposite position, man? We just cannot get a guy behind Matty Anderson. I have nothing else to say about Toronto versus Padova. Who cares? I'm just looking at it from an American perspective. Piacenza beat Catania. Yeah, whatever. Trentino beat Verona. Like, I mean, Trentino destroyed Verona. 18, 17, 15.
Amin had 10. He was 9 for 22. Rock had 10. He was 9 for 25.
We even saw a Nikola Jovovich sighting. That is a bad situation.
Did you see Trentino serving in this one? 9 aces for 11 errors. 1 ace for 7 errors for
what was
Verona.
it that Stoichev doesn't care about reception? Yeah, how's that going for you? Not giving up 9 aces to 11 errors.
Only 32% positive passes. Well, you don't care about first contact. There you go.
God, I would hate being a fan of Verona. Oh, it'd be such a hard team to root for with that amount of talent, and oh my God, that'd be such a hard team to watch.
You know what? If I'm Verona right now, Andrea Gianni is on the market.
Hey,
now, you know what?
I like that. I like that call a lot, Everett. I didn't think about it. I like that call.
I think Gianni would do amazing with this roster. I think Gianni, and the offensive-minded roster that this has and the firepower, I think Gianni would come in and do exceptional things with this roster. We already know that Stoichev is King Stooge. He's up there with Mazzanti for sure. But Gianni, man, I think Gianni would come in and just do a really, really good job because he's the alpha. He's the alpha that Stoichev wishes he was. And Gianni doesn't need to do anything. Gianni will just go crack a Stella after the game. I only say he drinks Stella because that's what he was drinking in Ottawa and 2 years ago after VNL. Without fail, him and his staff would be out in the Zamboni exit, chugging back Stellas,
pounded beers and smoking cigarettes less than half an hour before games. It was awesome.
After games. We're not after games.
After.
Yeah. I think he would just come in and big man them.
I don't know if I've ever agreed with the take more in my life. I don't know. I love this take so much. Let's make it happen. I think we're going to start a campaign on this very show. # Gianni to Verona.
It would be I'm just looking at this roster right now, and you've got so many bangers.
How many games? How many games can that management watch and allow that team to get aced to make 13 reception errors and pass 32% positive and make 26 attacking errors for only 30 kills? This is one of the worst overall team stat lines I've ever seen in a Superliga game from Verona.
Yeah,
this is horrific.
Really, really bad. 10 unforced errors, 6 of them from the Rock. They got blocked 13 times.
7 by Amin.
Bro, they got blocked 13 times and they got aced 9 times.
This is so bad. This is so bad. This is worse than I could have ever imagined.
Oh, yeah, this is terrible. And I mean, it's not even offensively. Trentino had a fantastic game. Lavia was 8 for 21, not super great. He was 9 for 23, wasn't awesome. Micheletto was at least 10 for 18. The only one.
Bertoli had 5 aces. I love him so much.
Free Bertoli, man.
Love him.
Let's free Bertoli for sure. But this is not what I want to see from Verona in this one. This is they laid over and died.
They died. They died in kind of spectacular fashion. All right, I don't have anything else about the Superliga. Do you?
No,
I do not want to talk about Piacenza versus Catania. Not worth our time.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Last but not least is the Plus Liga. We already talked about ZAKSA losing to Norvid yesterday, which is a pretty big deal. There weren't that many huge matches in the last couple days in round 4, but I want to set the stage for the next week or so. Tomorrow, Jastrzebski Węgiel versus Resovia. Big one.
Like that a lot.
And then Saturday, ZAKSA versus Resovia. How does ZAKSA respond from losing to Norvid? How do they use a couple days off to maybe get a little bit healthier? Those next 2 games these next 2 Resovia games, I'm going to be glued into. I'm very, very curious about them.
Yeah, those are 2 big games for Resovia, and I'm looking forward to them for sure. Anything else to talk about here? Sam Cooper with a nice 11 points this weekend.
Yeah, that was good.
And a win against Katowice and getting the start. So
got the start. I think it was like a 5-set overtime game, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was.
15,
It looks
12.
like they were really skinny on their roster.
Dude, I feel bad for Zavierce. I still, I mean, I picked them to win the Plus Liga. I really, really like their roster. It will be a long time before we see Zavierce actually play their full starting lineup. It's going to be a while.
Who are they missing again?
Beniek and Kleveno. Those are
Both
two.
of them got in. They both came in off the bench. Klevno started the 5th.
I think it'll be a little while until we see their full starting lineup. Like, who is Mariusz Shamlevsky? Who is that?
No idea.
I guess he's a middle. He must be their 4th middle.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing? Like, to me, it's the consequences of a national team season that was far too long.
Yeah, but also I want to give a big shout out to Zavierce that they actually they went with some of their bench guys and stuck with them all the way through.
Yeah, I like
even
that.
Even against a lesser team, they stuck with the guys all the way through. So
yeah,
I like to see that a lot.
Vashina for the Czech guy, he was good for Katowice. Good for him. I don't expect very much from Katowice this year. I kind of talked about in the Plus Liga preview. Yeah, Resovia versus JW, and then Resovia versus ZAKSA. Those are big matches coming up this week. One of them is tomorrow, the other is Sunday.
Resovia has a big week ahead of them.
Big week.
And it's like, if Resovia wants to be legitimate, like if they want to show themselves as like we're one of the top teams, they need to at least get one win.
Oh, bare minimum.
Bare minimum. If they go 0-2 this weekend, I'm very doubtful on
right now. I would pick Resovia to win both of those games. I think that they're better than Jastrzebski, and I think that there are enough injury concerns on ZAKSA. But I want to see good performances from Stefan Boyer. I want to see him look like the Stefan Boyer of last year, and he's going to play against his old team tomorrow, and I'm excited to watch that.
Yeah. Looking like people in the chat are saying that ZAKSA just might send the reserves to Rezov, which if you're ZAKSA, why not?
Yeah.
Right? Because you know that going into the season, Resovia is any team in the Plus League is gonna circle that matchup against ZAKSA. So what better thing to be like, we're not gonna give you that satisfaction. We're just gonna give you the bench guys. Yep, go play against Tatvam and who else? Like that. I actually
kind of like that.
I absolutely love that. I 100% love that.
People were asking if we're going to talk about the Sultan League today. No, honestly, I looked.
There's just too much. There's too much to talk about today, guys.
There's too much. And there weren't any good games. But no. Emily Maglio has a contract. Emily Maglio going to Besiktas. What do you think about that?
I think that's a downgrade.
Really,
Emily Maglio? Yeah, Emily Maglio just came off one of her greatest national team seasons of ever. And she's going to she played for THY before. Where is it? Why is no one picking her up? Why is she going to Besiktas? Besiktas isn't even good.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I agree with you.
I was flabbergasted. I think someone put it in the chat today, so I headed over to where is let's look at the standings here. Freaking, I wish this one would just always go to English for me and none of this.
Besiktas is 11th. They're 2-4. Behind Galatasaray and Ankara PTT and Sarıyer. It's early in the season. The standings don't mean that much to me yet, but I want better for Emily Maglio because she's awesome, and I just don't really know about this contract. But somebody is saying that Besiktas also got Celeste Plak from the Netherlands. That would help. I feel like she could be a pretty good scorer in the Sultan League.
I don't know if she went to Besiktas. I know she went, but Celeste Plak definitely went to Turkey. I don't think she went to Besiktas though. It's right. It's on the front page here. Oh, never mind. Some Sam Dressel just got signed. Where
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought she was going to a different team in the Netherlands. So it was Celeste Plak. From what I saw. Yeah.
Chukurova, Belediesi. Not familiar with that team. Yeah, I don't know. So I think that's it. I think that's our show. Yeah, there wasn't that much to talk about with the Sultan League this week. big week ahead. There's a couple games in the middle of the week, and then there's a massive weekend ahead in all the leagues. Big weekend in the Plusliga, big weekend in the Superliga, big weekend in the Lega Volley Femminile. I'm trying to look at matches to circle. Trentino versus Piacenza Saturday. That's fun. Perugia versus Modena Sunday. That could be fun. Probably a 3-dong, but that's like a storied matchup, you know.
There is like Murat Pasa is a team that has been getting pretty good, and they have Marina Kova, they have Stephanie Sandy, the top 4 right now in the Sutenlar League. So they take on Fenerbahce this weekend in the Sutenlar League, and then another good one, I think, if you're a Sutenlar League fan, THY against Nilufer. That was like 2 middle of the pack teams, and then Emily Maglio gets Alexa Gray and Nagazasha Basha in her first game
cool.
Besiktas this weekend. So
I like that.
I mean, to me, like that is a move that like Maglio has spent the past number of years playing for both THY and Nilufer, both in Istanbul. Like, to me, that's a move that like I want to go play in Istanbul. I want to continue living in Istanbul, and I don't have a contract with any of the top teams, so I'm going to go.
Fair enough.
And like Besiktas is when you're talking about storied sport clubs, they are one of the biggest stories. Like they're one of the biggest soccer clubs in Turkey. So
no wonder I haven't heard of them.
That's a quality team. Oh, apparently they just kicked THY's ass. So.
Oh, cool. All right.
And Melissa Vargas got injured in China. You guys are coming up with so much information that we just didn't know about.
Yeah, this is good stuff. We need more Turkish insiders. Get in the Discord. This is a good time to plug the Volleyball Source Discord. We didn't do it earlier. It's the best online volleyball chat community in the world. The link is in the description. We have channels for basically every country, every league in the world where people are talking about all sorts of stuff. We get a lot of insight from there. So will you. You should join that. And you should watch us next week on the 9x9.
Do it up. Sorry, Brooke, I apologize. Newthfer is in Bursa. I apologize. I don't. My Turkish geography isn't the greatest. I just know that you guys have 1 million clubs in Istanbul.
There are so many.
Kind of like that model.
Yeah, me too.
You know, like there's just not just like we make such a big deal about how like, you know, New York and LA have like 2 teams for some of the sports teams. No, let's just do clubs. I like that. Imagine having imagine multiple volleyball clubs in around the Chicago area.
There are many.
What are the Untouchables, Unforgivables?
Oh my God,
the Undesirables.
I've got a story to tell you about that team once we go off air.
Off air story. No, they're gonna get good. It's an off air story.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Well, if you want to tell me that story off air, you'll have to wait like 4 or 5 minutes first.
As is tradition. All right, boys and girls. Thanks for watching.
Response.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week. Get in the Volleyball Source Discord to watch all the matches this week, and we'll see you there.
And make sure to like this stream, give us a follow, do all of the fun things. Check out that volleyball.store. We love you all. Have a great week. Adios. Goodbye.